which I wouldn't hear because I'm the one recording. Yeah, sorry, I have been having like weird network issue with the Wi-Fi, so I just switched to computer.
So you have to stand there. That's
This
weird.
is standing
But shall
desk.
we maybe give you a few minutes to fix it? It's not nice to stand for an hour and a half, is it?
No, it's actually supposed to be standing desk. That's like supposedly, yeah, so it's fine.
Okay, cool. How are you doing?
Good. I'm a bit stressed now because of all this weird network issue and Zoom issue,
Well,
but
I can tell
it's
you that
good.
it's in the stars in the energies today because my previous Zoom meeting also was like technically completely not working.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Okay. How has it been? Have you been doing how have you been doing with little um
Homework.
homework?
We were yesterday joking with Naoto saying that because I didn't have so much time, so I just started doing this 2 days ago slowly, and so yesterday we were joking that if I don't have content, I might be out. Like that is a reality, and then it's just like, okay, I have no content, so I'm fired. We're saying like they will fire me, and then a next
Yeah.
person will come and replace me until there is no content and the person gets fired.
Yeah,
Like
there's no fired emoji on the
Ah, they will be so like with the finger like movement like yeah, so that's for my side. I can say like I started with the process just 2 days ago. So I also when I started I said that I understood why it should not be done in that way. Especially the way how I see it was that for me was not so hard in a way to apply the lens, but the vulnerability and the fear, of course, because it's an embodied process. I need some seats between I decide or I feel what is that I want to choose from these fears.
hmm
I don't know how was with that for you now too.
yeah, I mean, it was hard.
Good.
And yeah,
No, no, I'm sorry. It's a joke.
simply put,
How was it hard? In what way was it hard?
it's something that wait. Mm, how is it? Um, it's something that I would normally like avoid to do, to write about myself, write about others. So, I mean, I could have probably like find different strategies like how to approach this because there's no like one way of doing it. But I think, yeah, I was overthinking maybe. But
Okay.
we can take a look into the text. Yes.
Okay. Do you wanna share a bit?
Yes. So mine is should I put in, oh, I can do both in the chat and the WhatsApp group.
I mean, whatever's more comfortable for you. For me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where is this? Not escape room. Okay.
Oh, wow. That's so nice. Okay. Shall we just read it or do you want to read it?
I don't want to read aloud.
Okay.
You
So
could.
do you want
Uh,
me to read it or you want us to just read it quietly?
I would rather do it quietly if it's
Okay.
okay.
Of course. Um, so and then after this it's Jorge or is this another part or
That's
Uh,
it.
yours ends with the and
this
you
is
have
the end. It's just that
okay.
that
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
that's a
Yeah.
different thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was just putting other
Wow,
things.
it's so powerful. I'm so happy you did it. This is great. I mean, I
Thanks.
completely understand that it's not easy to do this, but could you also, next to like it being hard, which I understand that it's hard, but did it like also feel like a valuable thing to do?
Sorry, guys, I need a second to
Okay,
finish reading.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I need this one. Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's. I think I meant what I meant by hard is like it's hard to like sometimes I'm not really conscious about what um how things are like how to say like the events for example I wrote in the text it doesn't naturally come to me as um is this like a fear of something or is it what lens am I looking at? So yeah, it's just like hard to come up with like these topics or the story, I would say. But it's yeah, it's good exercise to refresh and yeah, think about something that is stuck in my mind and just to reveal it.
Yeah, and next to being stuck in your mind, it's stuck in your being, right?
Totally, yeah.
So, and that is like, I think, I mean, I can read when I'm reading this that it's really written from like a super honest, super vulnerable place, you know? And immediately, even reading this, you know, without like going even to the work, but with even just reading this, I'm already with you, you know? And I'm already like, I have a very clear position, like of where you're coming from, where you're speaking from, and that makes me able to connect to you, you know.
I
Um,
see.
that makes it able for me to connect to you, you know. And with this, I don't say that we have to, you know, one on one translate that into the work, but I think it's really important to keep that as a core with you of like, hey, that is actually what moves me to make the kind of work that I'm making, you know? And whether you're going to share that and how you're going to share that, that's a completely different question. But I think to have that is really, really important. So
Mm,
I'm super happy that you did that. Great.
yeah, that's very encouraging, empowering.
Thank you, also. Thanks for that. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, if I can share also, and now that we are at this level, is like, for instance, with Naoto, we worked for 4 years. So I guess I know we know each other in different, like sometimes also I have seen Naoto when he breaks down and sometimes, or like something happens and is something, yeah, like I found always that funny to share when you disappear from Ars Electronica
Oh
from
my
me
gosh.
at 4 in the morning. But it's always I found it is like it's just that the represents like people who already knows you is like it's fine. It's that you need to go. Um anyway, so this is like that this is yeah, I feel a vulnerability or like there's some things that yeah, I feel that yeah, I thank you for this. This is very generous from your side.
Thanks. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
And also to say one other thing, you know, especially when we talk about technology, I think it's not the first thing we think about is vulnerability, right? But also as technology is such a massive field, you know, and we said you're going to be read through that lens, whether you like it or not. So it is so good also to for yourself know the fragilities and vulnerabilities around it, because I think it makes it like super relatable in the sense of you know, I think a lot of people will resonate with a lot of the things you're writing here, even though their story might be a very different one than yours, right? But this is the stuff that in a way nobody like, or very little people are actually talking about, you know? Um, however, it's like how a lot of people feel. A lot of people feel like lost. A lot of people feel like they're in a loop. A lot of people feel like they can't cope, right? I mean, this is also in a way something it's a very contemporary kind of vibe, you know, and it's very real and it's a political thing. Yes, it's personal, but it's also like once you share those things, you know, or again, it doesn't have to be one-on-one, you know, but it will be I think there will be a lot of people who will resonate with that vibe on a really deep level, not on a level of like, oh, how do I interpret this techno setup here, but on another level, you know, and that makes it strong.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something I like. So I said this exercise is really hard, but also, yeah, obviously this is something I'm really conscious about, like the stories I wrote, or I also make my cards. I don't know if I mentioned before, but they're like my personal stories. I mean, I think I showed it to Jorge before, but
Yeah, not to Dani. Yeah, not to
yeah.
Dani.
Oh wow, those are amazing.
Oh,
They're like all your stories.
yes. And when I print, I have to like print 55 cards at once. So I have to make them. So I also like that's why in the text I put the photos, and all the photos are the ones that I take because yeah, that's how I relate my stories. I can't at first I was using some stock images or things like this, but it didn't really feel um, good to me. So I had to like I started having a habit of collecting a lot of images, like where I just take random photos and like some things that don't make sense, but after some time I come back to it and I know that it's attached, like especially because my emotions are not something I can easily articulate, but if I see the images or photos, it's easier to evoke, re-evoke those, remember these moments. So that was like a entry point to me also for this exercise, the photos.
Beautiful. And the cards, how do you use them? Is there like, are they for you? Are you sharing them with people? Are you maybe thinking to use them also in the piece or?
I had this idea, but it's never like functional in a way. I just produce them and show it to people. It's actually nice when sometimes I just don't want to introduce myself. I just bring these cards, and you suddenly see all the personal stories.
I love that. It's beautiful.
But maybe
Thanks.
also will be relevant, like if you share the context, so because that comes from this, it was coming that from the pact thing.
Right. That was like this take care like funding residency in Germany. So I did the residency, quote unquote, at Pact Solverein, but it was like online, like remote residency. So I've started with the idea of, yeah, actually I started with a website. I can share it with you later, but basically it's the same format, but it's living online. And then I did an exchange semester in Colombia for like one semester, and during that time I was in the performing arts masters, and they're always talking about, you know, bringing your huella. It's like footprint or, you know, traces.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking like, what if I just print them? And actually, I have like one of these, like, this is like a more like elaborate prototype, but I just like, you know, print them. And the first ones are like, I did this and I just cut them by myself and prototyping. Now I know where to, you know, order the print shop, but it was like very like DIY, and it really like the first ones I produced, I used that to kind of construct my performance. I didn't like use it in the performance, but it was kind of way of like figuring out, okay, this is this story, this is that story from a childhood, this is a story in Colombia. And to me, like I can visualize and easily like start to construct, okay, like how I want to tell the story of, you know, about my life. So that's actually very different from the practices, because in the practices, we don't really talk about our stories directly.
Mm-hmm.
But in the performance I was doing, I was like talking, like also in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, should I share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me just copy this.
Do you also have this document where we took the notes last time?
I will find it
Thanks.
if I can. What was it called?
Uh, I I have them open. So this is my writing exercise right now, I think. It says, can you
Is
see it says Jorge writing exercise? That's the one that I just shared.
it, hold on, now I'm a bit confused. It's not the figure of the dramaturg. Hello?
Hello?
Wait, so I also put it there. That's Jorge's text, right?
The figure of the dramaturg, that's how it starts?
No, like my text, it starts with, it says Jorge writing exercise Modena with Dani.
I don't know. Am I in the
I
wrong?
just put it in the chat,
Yeah.
like two links. One is the notes we took
Ah,
before, and
okay, okay. Okay, sorry. I'm in the wrong. Okay, now I see it. Okay. Shall we read it loud or also quietly, or how do you want to share it?
So we are together in Jorge writing exercises, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me see. Uh, maybe, yeah, maybe we can do it together, and then if there is something that where, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, maybe just try from when it says my slash psychological slash individual.
Okay. Do you want to read it?
If somebody can start.
Okay. My psychological individual, fear of death through the lenses of knowledge. Am I working to produce a body of work that can serve others? At first thought, I don't. What do I know? Does it matter what I think? I know. Where can I put this in the space between now and my death? Being confronted with cancer clarified some things. I thought, felt the distance with my family, the soledad. Knowing that I have to share this with certain people, like my family and some few friends, while I didn't know what to feel, what to expect. It was a scary place where, funny now, that the first thing I thought was that I'll have to cut my hair because of chemo. That was seriously the first thought I had in the process of imagining dying of cancer. Fear of the other.
should we
Then,
switch or
yeah, do you want to read?
yes? Fear of the other, lens of cyberfeminism. Tears for fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Welcome to your life. There is no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you. Acting on your best behavior, turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. When they do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we've almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. I can't stand this indecision, married with the lack of vision. Everybody wants to rule the world. Say that you'll never, 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 never need it. One headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world, all for freedom and for pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. Limits, borders, inside, outside. I don't know the other. I can't be sure of the fluidity of its being. How rigid in their thoughts, how delicate in their skin. When their skin finishes and when mine begins, I can't be sure of their politics. How may those affect me when I cannot know their political view? When politics blur within that what I can perceive, experience, and cannot. How much from that form that presents to me as the other is diverse, to not speak of different, the different carries a connotation that scary me. I want to embrace the diverse in the other, be together by our diversity. Our diverse singularities are rich and want to celebrate them.
You want to continue, Jorge, or shall we
Yeah.
read?
Yeah, I can do it. The fear of not knowing, uncertainty through the lens of machines. I see you while I write, not sure if I can speak of fear now. Now that you help me, I fear one day you might not work. Oh, that day will suck. I fear that one day you will be absolutely gone. Then what? My family, mis hermanos in Colombia far away, they are just there in my pocket. I can ask my brother, hey Chucho, ¿cómo vas? Or confess again to my older brother that I appreciate that he took that role in my life. Or just the guilty pleasure of mute for a week my family WhatsApp channel. That almost on a daily basis share a prayer to Jesus and God. It petrifies me to imagine that if digital machines like my phone stop working, I will not be able to contact my family. I also can reflect based on this to know that I won't be contacting my family now more just because I realize that our fragile connection relies on machines that depends on humans that one day might just fuck it up. I observe you as I write, uncertain, uncertain, it fear something I can. After you as I write uncertain, if fear is something I can discuss now that you assist me. I worry that one day you might stop working, that day will be terrible. Okay. It's kind of the same. I also uh I also reflect on this realization, knowing that I won't be contacting my family more often. Yeah, this is part of the same thing. The other, sociological, the group.
Wait.
I mean, like you repeated some
Because
parts.
I also reflect on this realization, knowing that I won't be contacting my family more often. Ah, yeah.
It's part of
And
the same. It's just
okay, it's just
written
a
differently. Yeah.
okay. All
The
right.
other, sociological, the group. The fear not being liked, loved, lens of embodied expression knowledge. We all move similar, have similar mannerisms, cultural temporalities. It is always shocking to not be the norm. States fight each other, representing the wishes of few, while the masquerada in democracy. There is a collective hysteria mm, of artists. What? There is a collective hysteria. Artists use life as a substance for creation. In application processes, the artist goes through a rejection process. It partially hardens the skin of the artist, but the fear or not being liked or the detachment from work to the personal is not easy. Fear of death through the lenses of knowledge.
You want me to continue again?
Yeah, maybe I just read this. Yeah.
Okay.
I just go to know that my neighbor wife dies of cancer. It was a long process. I'm new to the house. We moved in September 23, but I just landed home in March 24. I feel guilty because I complained about the noise of the dog last week when he was often going to the hospital. It's hard to feel how he feels right now doing this exercise. He says to Eva that it went down fast. He seems to be okay. Since March, I'm home. Since I'm home, I saw him. He takes the dog for a walk in the morning and in the afternoon every day. He smokes quite a lot of weed. I can smell sometimes strongly from my house. I found difficult to speak about the other without me. I can only know about the other by experiencing myself in the other. They don't know much about that. No, they want to speak about it. They are busy with life and the cult of work, reproducing what is culturally expected from them, even the non-normative, the queer. It is embedded in their own subcultures. There are mechanisms that foreseen for this to keep in motion. There is no time to waste thinking about my death or yours. I asked ChatGPT, what are the common deep thoughts of realization of people when they are about to die? When people are about to die, they often experience profound thoughts and realization. Common reflections include, maybe somebody can take it off from here.
I can continue. Regret and forgiveness. Many think about past regrets and seek forgiveness for wrongs they feel they have committed. They might wish they had done things differently or made amends with others. Love and relationships. People often reflect on their relationships with family and friends, realizing the importance of love and connection. They might express gratitude for the love they have received and given. Life's meaning and purpose. Contemplation about the meaning and purpose of their life is common. They might ponder whether they have lived a meaningful life and fulfilled their purpose. Fear and acceptance. There can be a mixture of fear and acceptance. Some might fear the unknown or the process of dying, while others come to accept it as a natural part of life. Legacy and impact. Thoughts about the legacy they leave behind and the impact they have had on others are frequent. They might hope to be remembered positively and to have made a difference. Unfulfilled dreams. People often think about their unfulfilled dreams and aspiration. There can be a sense of loss for what they didn't achieve or experience. Spiritual and existential questions. Many turn to spiritual or existential questions, contemplating the afterlife, the existence of a higher power, or the nature of their own soul. Peace and release. Some find a sense of peace and release, letting go of worldly concerns and finding comfort in the idea of rest or reunion with loved ones who have passed away. These reflections highlight the deep and personal nature of human experience when facing the end of life, revealing what individuals value most and the profound thoughts that arise during this pivotal time. Yeah, go.
The fear of not knowing, uncertainty from the lens of machines. They don't know the machine, nor they speak their language. Nobody can fully be on the shoes of the other, and that also applies with machines. The difference is that there is no broadened talks about empathic relations with machines. The relation has been master and slave. Machines are instruments to achieve an end. They don't know what to expect from the machine in an empathic relation. There is not romance nor poetry. With the discourse on AI and singularity, hypothetical future point where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, leading to rapid and unforeseeable advancements in technology and society. There is fear of humans losing the hierarchical position, fear that the machine will make human feel dumb, inferior at different levels. But isn't that the position that the machines have always had? Based on this text, I asked GPT, expand the text. With the discourse on AI and the singularity, I have a hypothetical future point where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, leading to rapid and unforeseeable advancements in technology and society. There is a growing fear of humans losing their hierarchical position. This fear stems from the concern that machines will outsmart humans, making us feel intellectually inferior and subordinate at various levels. However, isn't this dynamic something that machines have always embodied? Historically, machines have been designed to perform tasks that surpass human capabilities in terms of speed, precision, and efficiency. From the industrial revolutions, mechanized looms to modern-day supercomputers, machines have continually redefined what humans can achieve, often making us feel dependent on their superior performance. The fear associated with the singularity amplifies this existing relationship, raising questions about our future roles and identities in a world where machines might not only assist, but potentially surpass us in cognitive abilities. It's funny that it's just completely misunderstood your point.
Mhm.
Wow, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
How was it for you next to that you feel like it was a bit rushed or something, but how was it for you? Especially now, let's focus on the parts where you share more personal things. Like how was that for you?
I think for me, like something that it was we didn't discuss in the last call that I shared with Naoto at some point. It's kind of struck me like as lighting clarity somehow is that uh the death and relation with health. I mean, health and the relation of death or health and the machines or the technology. That was something that we didn't discuss, and that was something that it gives me a sense, a deep connection of with technology. Yeah. So I add that to the list, like fear of death, and then the lens of, I think, health. So for me, I think what it was, it stays with me often was death, but that was something that was resonating with me, death. Um, and sorry, a bit of allergic right now. Um, yeah. Mm, yeah, that also struck me the when I just heard that about my neighbor. Um, so I think the death stays there a lot in the discourse in my feeling. Um, yeah, I don't know how to go around it. If you can help me.
I mean, I think it's extremely beautiful also in your text, to actually see, hey, this is a really existential thing. It's not because, like, of course, like all the things we talked about before, the playfulness, the sandbox, but for me, this is really like the level deeper, that is really like on an existential level. Why are you drawn to, what both of you, to what you're actually doing together? And I think it's extremely beautiful and touching for me reading both of these things, that those are all things that I feel, most humans are like struggling with, So there's like a huge connective potential, that comes through in these texts, and that maybe we can also see how, we move that like into the next step, and how you want to share that, and what of this you want to share or translate, But what I think is so powerful, and that's why I still think we need art as a way to connect, We need this experimental searching for form, because we're wrestling with this really deep and existential fears and quests and questions, and they're not only, yes, they're now you speak about death, or we're speaking about fear, we're speaking of vulnerability. Now do you speak also about like your history? But I think it's also important to see that it's not, there's also a real beauty in that, right? It's like there's like a real connective beauty and a lot of like potential in that. So I'm really happy you both did that, because also for me, like moving further with you, it's it's just really good to have that and to understand these vulnerabilities and fears, in order to also see, okay, even though again we're not going to translate those one to one, but because there is, for example, I mean, I wanted to ask you this for a long time, because there is moments in the video that I saw where you talked about like this walk to the train station, or you walking from the train station, Jorge, and I don't know why, but I immediately connected that to your mother, which I don't know if it actually is. But there is also these moments already, which, okay, from the video, like it's a bit hard to say, but there is these moments of where you suddenly you have a bit this nonsensical playfulness going on, and then suddenly you have like this kind of like rupture of where it goes like deep, and where you can
And
without.
talking of rupture, we need to come back here.
Yeah, we will
Just
come back
talking
to the
of
same
rupture, we
link.
have to jump here.
Okay.
Because we're finishing. Let's come back. Sorry.
Thanks.
That is something that will also transpire to others. That is like the kind of like, I don't know, mycelial web of energy, or whatever you want to call it, that becomes like tangible, and that makes me like be drawn to what it is, and not just make me drawn, but make me connect, like, on a deep level. And I think that's really powerful. So where I would like to go from this now, maybe we can take a few minutes just together, like in our working doc, and just like, because there is so much overlap, like now we can go back from um uh, and really like pull out like the things, that maybe we can maybe we can make like a list with like three columns or something. And in one column are the things that both of you speak about, like that are really like overlapping. And then some are the ones that, Naoto's speaking about and that you are speaking about, that are not exactly overlapping, but of course also related. Um, Maybe we can just quickly do that together. I can also like take notes, or hold on, let me see. I also wanted to say I'm super sorry, but I fucked up something with the time today, and I have actually an appointment at the hospital at 1, I just saw. So I need to leave at 1:15. Sorry about that. We can like do longer.
Yeah, don't worry.
Let's wait, if or maybe can someone of you make like 3 columns in this thing? Is that possible?
Yeah, is there?
I
I don't know
think
if, are
Dani's
we
not.
in the same document?
I'll
I
put it in the chat.
I
I
put
see you, but I think Dani's not there yet. So
okay.
Okay, I'm there. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So how did we call these three? Okay, let's make more of this.
I mean, this is kind of like this is basically we could almost call this like index for our user manual or something, right? Or I don't know, user manual actually. Okay, and then we could just do like Naoto. Oops, sorry. What's going on? Naoto, Woche, and overlap. So
Hmm.
maybe, I don't know, like the fear of not being heard, the fear of being misheard or misinterpreted. I feel that's also in yours, Jorge. Don't you think so? I mean, you don't explicitly name it like that, but I feel
Which fear? Can you repeat again, Danny?
the fear of not being heard or being misinterpreted. I mean, we can just go through them. What, like maybe it's the easiest if I read them like in kind of summary points, and then the two of you actually decide of where to put it, huh? Because that
Okay.
makes the most sense. So let's start with the with or or I mean, even to you call it the fear of not being heard, but you're also like talking about like the void, the breakdown, and and this kind of feelings, which I mean, the thing is also one thing is what you wrote, obviously things of both of you will resonate with each other that you just didn't write about. So it's maybe not so much in what have you written, rather than, okay, is that something that resonates with both of you and is important to both of you and on this like kind of deep, vulnerable level? Or is this more like, okay, this is like more specific to Naoto and this is more specific to Jorge, or this is something we both really resonate with, you know? Just to be clear, it's not so much now about what did you write? Did you also write about the fear of not being heard or not being listened to or being misinterpreted or having a breakdown and not knowing where to speak to, is that something like you both resonate with in a kind of very deep sense, or is this, and you can just like very
so you,
decide.
you mean like to use the text more like a food for thoughts
Yeah, because
and develop.
obviously, you never write everything you feel in the text. I'm sure now when we were reading Jorge's text, you had things that maybe resonated with you that you just didn't write about. So it's not about what you wrote, it's more what do you resonate with. But
Yeah.
on this like staying really close to your core and your own vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
So, okay. So how about this first point of Naoto Jorge? Should we put this in Naoto or should we put this in like the overlap? What do you feel?
I feel there is more Naoto.
Okay.
Do you think?
So let's put this. Are you gonna write it down, Naoto? Because then I
Yeah,
can just
I can
say,
I can
okay,
take
cool,
notes here. Yeah.
cool. Um, then the second one, the fear of not knowing my ancestry or not knowing my history or not knowing what will happen in a way, because ancestry is like in the past, but also like in the future in a way, right? Future and past together. So, what do you think, Jorge?
I feel there is a common thing. There is
Okay,
overlap.
so let's put that in the common then. Other, the fear of the other.
What do you think, Naoto?
Sorry,
So,
what was it?
Fear of
Fear
the
of the
other.
other. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. Other from the other, the fear of the other.
yeah,
That's
the fear of the other, the fear not being safe,
yeah,
fear not fitting into normativity, the
right.
the fear of becoming invisible, like just like, is this something that speaks to both of you, or Jorge, do you feel maybe it's easier, Jorge, if because as it's Naoto, so it's clear that it resonates with him. If in his text you say, okay, this is something for both of us, or this is in the Naoto column, and then with yours, Naoto does it,
But it's also I wrote from the perspective of other, so
Yeah.
but I guess that resonates anyways to me.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I think there's an overlap there also, the fear of the other.
Okay. Oops.
Then the fear of not being enough, war, misinformation.
Wow.
Actually, I don't have that fear. Maybe it's more like I was writing about others, and maybe I have a fear of others having fear of not having that.
Say it again. So what was that mix? The fear of
Not being enough.
in
The
relation.
fear of not being enough. Okay.
In relation to war, misinformation.
I resonate with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put it in the together column. Okay, I'm jumping now to Jorge. Fear of death through the lens of knowledge. So fear of death, obviously, but also like where is knowledge, like the kind of like fear of not knowing where to put knowledge in between now and my death. Fear of health, fear of loneliness. I mean, all those are like kind of together, right? In this point.
Right. But I don't know
I
if
don't
I see, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way how I was seeing is, I guess, in the not knowing. I see it specifically in not knowing.
Fear of uncertainty.
Yeah, I think that's death, uncertainty. Yeah,
So fear of death / uncertainty.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense to me. I mean, that I would connect.
yeah.
Okay, then we have here the beautiful everybody wants to rule the world text. I don't know, like how would you say it? Like you have this fear of the other, but I don't know. I almost read that as like fear of human and human activity or something. I don't know
Yeah.
how.
I
Yeah.
think it's a good reading.
Yeah, I feel like it's connected to the one I wrote, the not being enough and
Yeah.
war.
So maybe we
Sort
can
like
just
sort of.
add that fear of human activity or fear of where human activity will lead or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's makes more sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust. Yeah, it's connected with trust. Yeah.
Okay, fear of not knowing, uncertainty again, but through the lens of machines. Okay, so the fear of the collapse of the machine is that, right? Fear of the death of the machine. It's not fear of the death of the human, but fear of the death of the machine, right?
In where? In
Where you speak about the fear of not knowing, uncertainty, lens of machines, where you speak about the fear, or maybe it's more actually fear of disconnection than fear of the death of machine. I mean, that's maybe something to talk about a little bit.
hmm.
But this is here is like
Yes.
about family, especially like that was like strong part
Yeah.
that's connected through the machines, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I say fear of disconnection, because
Yeah.
death of the machine equals the disconnection from family or the
Yeah.
disconnection from Colombia in this case,
Yeah.
or from home or, So I would say like fear of disconnection from, family, ancestry, but it's in a way also the fear of the death of the machine, not for the machine's sake, but for the consequences it will do, namely the disconnection from people
Yeah.
you love far away.
Yeah. But and I see also there is some overlapping there with death and uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the machine dies, then I don't know how to connect with my family, right? So then I have to
Exactly.
deal with uncertainty of deal with that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would have to like answer, you would have to renegotiate what that means to connect to them, because maybe then you would start writing them letters or I don't know, but
Mm.
it's also
But
like
that's still connected by technology.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
I put it in the overlap column because
Okay.
obviously I'm in the same situation
Mm-hmm.
in that sense.
It reminds me also of something you said in one of the first conversations now, to where you said in Japan, people also look at machines like your friends and that you have to
Right.
take care of them. And here I'm thinking also about this, how the machine, like, it's a bit weird to say that the machine is taking care of you, but the machine facilitates for you to, be to able to connect to your family in very far away. So in the way also, I don't know, the machine as your friend or the machine as someone that takes care of your need to connect.
Yeah.
And this
I
is not
guess that's
like,
something that Jorge wrote at the bottom, the
yeah.
last point. I think it's about the empathy with the machines.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put it right like that way, empathy with machines. Yeah.
Okay, the fear of not being liked or not being loved. So I don't know. Is there like an overlap? Because I feel the fear, like here you also speak about not being in the norm, you know, or being off the norm and the fear that that creates. But you also here talk a bit more like it feels like a little bit more intellectual what you write here and less like personal. But that's totally fine. I'm just asking if I'm reading it in a right way.
Yeah, I think it speaks more of feeling suspicious on, wait, let me try. Alarm, state spies should represent the masculine democracy. Yeah, this is, I guess I put it like to the trust is not trusting, in that case, the state, like, or like the other taking the right decisions for me, like being very, um, maybe it's not a sense of trust, but yeah, I don't know, like it, like in that space of feeling that is a hypocrisy, like I feel that, yeah, and trust, I guess trust, but in a, the way I guess how I read it here is that we live in the way how we live, and we trust others to take decisions for us, but that's decisions are not for us, but are just for few. Um, I don't know how to, what words to use and hmm.
Maybe we just like put it in your column and keep
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it there because I think there's, also like I noticed that this activity, like if we start elaborate, we can like, see overlap everywhere. But maybe
right.
it's also good to be like, keep it like concrete example,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not too abstract too much.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Then
agree.
there's the next one, which I would just call the fear of death, you know, because I
Mhm.
think there's several moments where, you talk about it in relation to your own health. You also talk about it in relation to knowledge and in relation like to your neighbor. But I think it pops up in several ways, but we could just call it the fear of death.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, yeah, I think it's a good summarize of that.
And then also I mean, that's maybe less a fear, but more like a question, the question of meaning.
Meaning?
Like
As in purpose? As in purpose?
yeah, as in purpose, like all these things that you ask the ChatGPT, you know, and then all this list that the ChatGPT is like, I feel that's like, I would call that more like meaning, like people, what happens in death, you're in the process of death and dying, like people are looking for like meaning, you know, in a way. If I
Yeah.
would summarize all. So it's maybe not so much a fear, but a question or a need for meaning or something like this in
Yeah.
in an existential way, you know. It's not like, oh, meaning, like it's not an intellectual thing. It's like on a deep level, you know.
Yeah.
I put the meaning in your column because
Mhm.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I have my meaning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I try
Okay.
to think it that way.
And then the fear of not knowing, uncertainty. Okay, that we have already. Okay, cool. Okay, that looks already really good. Maybe if we, just for the sake of, I mean, obviously, you know, each of you should like stay connected to the entirety of all these of all this map, basically. I mean, it's not yet a map, but it could be also a map. But maybe for the next step, we can focus on this like overlap part here because there's already a lot there, you know? And maybe we could, I think what would be interesting is as a next exercise, if you could maybe actually write something for next week, a very short thing. It's not long. If you each write like a sentence to each of the fear, so each of the things that are overlapping, you know, fear of not knowing, fear of the other, etc. You write a sentence for the other that starts with "I wonder." Something that you so Jorge, for example, you write like, okay, to Naoto that says, okay, I have the fear of not knowing my ancestry, not knowing my future. Okay. So then you write something that you want to offer to him, but you write it in the form of I wonder, you know?
Okay.
So it's like, so each of you offers to the other in writing, like, I wonder if we, you know, can be a concrete thing that you propose. It can just be something that you're wondering about. It can be a question. So it's not that you know, resolve the fear or have to find an answer to the fear. I mean, that would be incredibly like unrealistic. But also, I mean, the other thing about fear, it's more like to create a connection to that fear, you know? It's basically
Okay.
it's not going to resolve the fear, obviously, but it's like, so you write an I wonder with to the other with the intention of connecting to that, or with the kind of intention to add on to that, think with
Yeah.
that, but through thinking about the other one, not about yourself. So you
Yeah.
offer, so Jorge, you offer something in your I wonder to Naoto, and Naoto, you offer something to Jorge, um, in this like I wonder way. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thanks for that. That is clear to me. So maybe we should, because I think
Yeah,
we
I need
have.
to leave in like 5 minutes. I don't know. I'm super sorry, but my total my August is not I also wrote a bit fast, but I just wanted to respond to you immediately because my August is like totally booked. So I don't know if you have any news already about the rest. I'm also not super in a hurry, but maybe you need to know something from me before I leave. Otherwise, we talk about it next time.
I guess
Maybe
just
just
the maybe just
next.
with just the next time and
Okay.
see from there.
And when are we meeting again?
Next Friday will work for me in the morning. If that's work for you guys, I don't know, that will be possible.
Next Friday is the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. I would love it if we could do, for me, both is fine, 10 or 11, doesn't matter. I have a slight preference for 10, if that's okay.
That'll be better for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. If for the
let's
two.
do
Yeah. Okay.
next Friday 10.
Okay, I'll just write in each chat
Um,
and then we'll see then.
I'm sorry, I had to cut this a bit short. I messed up the time. I don't know what I
Don't
did.
worry, Danny. We keep in touch.
We keep
That's
in
great.
touch. Love
Yeah,
you.
thank you so
Bye.
much.
Ciao,
Ciao.
baby. Ciao.